See if we are live. Trying to see if people notice we're on a new channel and they subscribe to it. So if you're new here, welcome. Great to have you. But this is live for Patreon supporters. So I'm gonna basically cue in the intro for the actual show, and then Dennis and I will kick things right off, which will be awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 39 of the Best Phone Plans Podcast, the show where we talk about what's news in cellular and technology. It's pretty great. Dennis, obviously the co-host of the show. How are you doing today?
Good as always, my friend.
Dennis, I have to say you look great. In the video format of the show, you're looking awesome. Did something happen? New haircut? We know you got your braces off. You're just looking really good today.
Yeah, so I did another enhancement to my setup. Stetson bought a fantastic 4K camera from Logitech, and I was impressed by its wonders, so I decided to purchase the same camera because I also love Logitech. I also got myself a little bit of a USB hub to free open some USB ports, so I now have actually two cameras. The one I was using before that was 4K, and now this one that actually has support for HDR, which is why I actually look like a human.
Yeah, your face isn't blown out. Although I will say, your image looks smoother than mine. Like, as I wave my hand, it's all blurry and blocky. Yours is just like, it's actually at 60 frames per second or whatever. Anyway, Dennis, you're looking great. We've got a great show lined up. Some huge topics to discuss. Dennis, you're probably wondering, Stetson, what's on deck? And,
yes, Stetson, what's on deck?
We've got a few things on deck here, Dennis. We've got iPhone 13 possibly communicating with low Earth orbiting satellites. We've got Twigby moving to the Verizon network, Nokia pausing O-RAN alliance work, and some news around Dish Wireless. It's going to be a spicy show. Maybe we'll throw something in at the end as we usually do. But yeah, I think we should jump right into it, Dennis. The big story of today, and I know you were working today, so you didn't have as much time to, soak this in, but it was a new rumor from Ming-Chi Kuo, right? I hope I'm pronouncing that. It might be Ming-Chi Kuo. Either way, he works closely with the iPhone supply chain, and my understanding is he's able to pick up rumors and leaks based on agreements, components being used, and the manufacturing process of the iPhones. So there was a rumor from Ming-Chi Kuo, I think it's Kuo, that the iPhone 13 lineup would feature a customized X60 modem that would support connecting to low Earth orbit satellites. Dennis, first reactions.
First reactions, I think it's awesome that this technology exists because we've talked about this before, but there's going to be areas that are always going to be hard to cover with terrestrial cell sites. Think like mountainy areas or very, very rural parts, maybe deserts and stuff like that. So if iPhone 13 supports these low orbiting satellites, an extra layer of coverage, I think it's going to solve a lot of problems when it comes to those dead spots, especially for like emergency responders and stuff like that too, whenever terrestrial sites get damaged, like with Hurricane Ida that's going on.
Sure, absolutely. And that's actually a really great point. Do you think this is at all possible? Like, Dennis, when I first heard this story, my friend told this to me, and I was like, no way is Apple basically turning the iPhone into a satellite communications phone. Like, there is no way this is happening. Do you think right now it's possible?
I think it's something they're planning, maybe, because especially with Dish entering the market, that might be something that comes up, and with Starlink being a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be in the iPhone 13, though. And the reason for that is because if that was going to happen, right, that's something that has to be planned like years in advance, right?
Sure.
And this might just be my ignorance, but I haven't heard too much about this technology until you just started
today,
telling me about it.
Right? Yeah, it's a breaking story.
So, if this technology is news, I think it is, and compounded with the fact that there's the chip shortage, the fact that Apple books this stuff way in advance, and we haven't heard rumors of the fact that Apple was going to do some type of customized chip to begin with anyway, I find the probability of this being true low, at least for iPhone 13. Maybe in future iterations.
We should clarify that iPhone 13, we mean the iPhone coming out September 2021.
Right. Now, maybe next year or the year after, sure, I would have higher likelihood, but I have a sneaking suspicion that wouldn't be the case now, because why would Qualcomm go out of their way and not just do that for all phones in that case? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so this is actually interesting. So The bigger picture here, and there was a lot of raised eyebrows and question marks around this story. So I think the bigger picture here is the X65 modem is actually planning on having these bands. So what are these bands? They're bands. It's LTE band, and there's also it's band 53 and band N53. So 53 over LTE and 53 over 5G, where it's supported. What are these bands? So these are used by a company called Globalstar, and they're using this spectrum frequencies in around the 2.4 gigahertz zone, which is typically for Wi-Fi, but they do have a spectrum block there, and they're using that for terrestrial LAA deployments and for private networks. And so kind of what we think happened is Sasha did a great analysis on Twitter, and he was thinking it was just a game of telephone where something was lost in translation. Ming-Chi Kuo, is saying, hey, iPhone 13 is going to have these extra bands to work with frequencies that Globalstar owns and operates. And I think here in the United States, we heard the word Globalstar, realized they operate low Earth orbiting satellites. Boom, iPhone connecting to satellites. Sasha's thinking this is not the case. It's actually going to be for additional LTE coverage using band 53 and band N53. However, this is what I think is probably the most reasonable explanation so far. Just like enhanced LTE coverage could be through a third party, partner with Globalstar, whatever. But we actually just had an article published on Bloomberg by Mark Gurman saying that it will actually connect to satellites. And there's two components here. Emergency messages via satellite, where users will be able to text emergency services and contacts over a satellite network when there's no cell signal. And the second feature would be a tool to report major emergencies, such as plane crashes, sinking ships, also, again, connecting to satellite networks. So I think there's kind of like two stories. Like, it could just be LTE, or it could actually be connecting to satellites. Dennis, what are your kind of thoughts now after hearing a little bit more about what could be going on with this potential rumor?
I think that, as always, I'll play the wait and see approach, but I want to focus more on the if this is true scenario. I want to have a fun conversation. So you kind of touched on something that I sort of touched on, which would be the cool aspect in events of emergencies, right? You're talking about messaging if you were, like, say, on a sinking boat, right?
Yes.
What other cool things can you think of if we had the ability to use satellite? And also, how do you think that would work with the carriers? Like, how would that be priced in? I mean, you're using Globalstar, right? Like, like, would there be like a separate bucket of like you get 2,000 text messages for like $100? Like, what does that look like?
So right now, my gut instinct is Apple would probably negotiate this deal themselves to try and make it more of an iPhone exclusive feature, as opposed to trying to rely on Verizon AT. Like, you can't advertise this as a feature if it doesn't work across all iPhones, right? Like, you need a plan or something. I don't know. So I think Apple will try and negotiate that. I think the biggest thing for me right now is we've talked about T-Mobile not having backup generators. Like, if a cell tower goes down, like, it's down. And I think if you apply this to, let's say, a natural disaster situation where the cell tower is damaged or is actually down and you can't connect and make phone calls, I think this could be really helpful for letting people send messages and make phone calls in natural disasters, in remote areas, on sinking ships, and things like that.
Getting lost in the woods.
Like, you don't necessarily need any more of those specialized satellite phones that do connect to satellites to make those phone calls.
I think that would be massive. And, I'm hoping that, I mean, this is wishful thinking, but maybe when Starlink really starts to take off, and we've seen how impressive Starlink has been as a home internet. Hopefully, maybe something might happen where Starlink might become buddy with a Verizon, and we might see like this like powerful like coupling where we get that extra layer of coverage, that extra bit of capacity, and especially in those like rural spots. Like, that would be an interesting world to live in. Like, legit, like, satellite literally covers everywhere, which means truly now in the U.S. you could literally be anywhere and be guaranteed to have some form of service. Like, that would be a remarkable thing, and that would honestly. That'd be a game changer, something that's actually worth paying more. Like, if carriers wanted to charge me more for that feature, I don't know, $20 for the add-on of having satellite connectivity, I actually think that's something I would buy. Real talk.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and you said $20. Like, what pricing? It's so hard to figure out like what this will cost.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm saying $20 is what would have me biting. Like, if it was an add-on,
Sure.
I don't know, like, you know how US Mobile has an add-on for hotspot. You used to think they charge like $10, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying the functionality of satellite connectivity, I would value at an extra $20 on my bill for every line.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, it's huge. Like you said, connection everywhere, and the satellites aren't going to run out of battery. Like they're always going to be there, ready to provide service, connection, make that phone call.
Right. Phone call, texting, and even data. I mean, and if we're talking like a Starlink, the data would be fast. Like we've seen Starlink was able to get what, 150 megabits now? Or something
Yeah,
like
they're
that?
getting great speeds. Really,
Right.
really
And the
great
latency is
speeds.
not bad either.
How do you think something like this would impact the battery life of a phone?
Oh, your phone's battery is going to get shot. Dude, I'm not joking.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, your phone battery life is going to... People were complaining about 5G reducing battery life. Dude, satellite connectivity is going to crush your phone's battery.
Yeah. How do you think Apple will integrate this? Do you think it'll always be connected to satellite in the background? Do you think it'll kind of, I have no service, I'm going
way.
to ping it? Like, how do you think they're going to try and implement this?
No way. It's going to be a system like... If there's no... Like, this is going to be the hierarchy, right? It'll be like, is 5G available? Okay, no. Is LTE available? No. Is 4G, 3G, 2G available? No. How about roaming on AT&T or Verizon for that now in one call? Still no. Finally, satellite connection, right? Like it's going to be the literal bottom of the barrel thing, and I guarantee you they turn those bands off in the modem to conserve battery life because Apple, as you know, is very focused on conserving battery. I mean, we've seen with 5G by default, right? It will actually like if you have 5G on auto, it'll actually disconnect from 5G when you're not actually using data to conserve battery.
Right. Yeah, I think battery life is huge for Apple. So I think you hit it like nail on the head. They'll have to do something very specific. It also seems that right now the feature is going to be for messages only. So it won't actually potentially support calling at this time. And the article from Mark Gurman says that it's using... it'll use a gray message bubble instead of green or blue to just kind of signify that.
Well, overall, I think that was pretty cool to talk about, but I want to really get into Twigby moving over to Verizon network.
Yeah.
Stetson, please tell me and the audience what is going on here.
So what happened is Twigby is, or was, I should say, an MVNO that used Sprint for coverage. I did a review of them way back in 2018. If you want to jump to 2018 Stetson to see what that was like. And the bottom line for me was like the service was decent. Their plans were reasonably affordable. Their back end worked. It wasn't like as beautiful as, say, US Mobile, but it was functional. You could add multiple lines. It got the job done. It had some interesting features where you could actually set a data speed cap. Like you could intentionally cap your own speeds to, let's say, 512 kilobits per second or 112 kilobits per second. I think this would be more for parents trying to manage the lines of their kids, like manage their usage and things like that. And of course, with the Sprint T-Mobile merger, Twigby had to kind of migrate over to T-Mobile. And I believe they did some activations on T-Mobile. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the end result is during their previous operations, they had an agreement to roam on Verizon for calls. So Twigby customers can make calls in areas where there wasn't Sprint coverage, which was a lot of places. But now it seems like they've actually strengthened their partnership with Verizon, and they're moving over to it as a proper Verizon MVNO. And I think this is great because, I mean, how would you say the competition is on Verizon for MVNOs right now?
Yeah, so I said it behind the scenes, but Verizon needs more options. I mean, there's choices out there, but not many of them are good, with the exceptions of US Mobile and Visible, which Visible is Verizon's like own flanker brand, right? Those are really the only two good Verizon MVNOs. And okay, actually, I lied. There's actually,
there's a lot, but when you say like good, right? We have Xfinity Mobile, Spectrum Mobile. Those kind of go in their own sort of separate category.
That's actually the one I was going to say, but that's like there's a caveat with that. So if we're talking like ones that anybody can get without some like strings attached, then there's only like two really good options: US Mobile and Visible, in my opinion.
Yeah, those are definitely the best. I mean, Red Pocket does kind of work on Verizon, but
yeah, that's like saying Straight Talk can work on Verizon too. You know?
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. The experience just isn't there. I think honestly, another third one is Ting, but the question mark is like, how long will Ting work on Verizon because they were purchased by Dish, and they're actually probably going to end up using
AT&T
and T-Mobile going forward. So we'll see kind of how that evolves. So yeah, I think having Twigby use Verizon is great. They include international calling, which is really awesome. And, you know, their plans are decent. It's not groundbreaking. Like US Mobile is still a way better value, but it's nice having, as you said, more options and some more choices to choose from. We're all about that.
Yeah, I looked at their plans because I was curious because I truly didn't know much about them, and it doesn't look like they have an unlimited option at all. It looks like the max that you can get is 10 gigabytes, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they do kind of that tello thing where you can pick how much data you want. They have like some flexible plans, and they have some plans that are branded as smartphone plans that are a little bit better of a value. And I think some options are decent, like $30 for 5 gigs. Actually, excuse me, $25 for 5 gigs is an even cheaper option.
Actually, it's $18.75 per month if you do it for 6 months for 5 gigs.
Yeah, they have I think they do like 25% off
Yes.
for 6 months. They've had that forever. It's not even a limited time. It's just like straight up 25% off your first 6 months. Please stay with us. And then 10 gigs for $35 a month.
Yeah, but after the promo ends, it goes up to $43 for 5 gigs.
Yeah, so they're kind of expensive, right? And you think of US Mobile, like $45 gets you 75 gigs. So
yeah, I mean, they're not. Again, they're not like great. And also, if we're talking about carriers that need more options, and we were also saying this too, but AT&T could use more options. I mean, they got great premium options like Los Mobile, but that really like niche area somewhere between like $10 to $40 territory. There's not like a lot of great options. Like the only one that's out there that I can think of off the top of my head is like Red Pocket.
I think Red Pocket, Pure Talk is there, Unreal Mobile. I think the problem is that they're kind of lesser known and the feature support is terrible. I just confirmed Free Up Mobile's features a while back. Like actually, I think I called them or maybe, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Free Up Mobile. They do not support group messaging, group and picture messaging. They do not support mobile hotspot. And those are like core features that I value in my cell service. So
yeah, it's like the prepaid days like of 10 years ago. And then
it's weird.
There's other ones like Boom Mobile, but
they stopped. They were shut off.
Right, but that's what I was about to say. Like they were going through all those different things and got shut off. And I think what was the other one that like went through like a bunch of like they came out the unlimited
Wing. I think Wing is probably what
Thank you. Of. Yes, Wing, right? Like I would never trust to go with Wing because they started out with unlimited reselling like business plans and then they did the cap to 22 gigs and then this and this and this happened and it's just like why would I want to use that company, right? Like
yeah, and it's not necessarily a problem with Wing. I think it's more of a problem with AT&T. Like I think AT&T was just like shutting down these carriers and like did they know they were offering business plans? It just seems so confusing to me. I honestly didn't understand.
But regardless, Twigby going to the Verizon network, I would say, is a net win for consumers because more competition on the Verizon network, which, generally speaking, is still, to this day, one of the better networks to choose from between the three for most people, with AT&T obviously being my preferred in my eyes. But I know out where you're at, Stetson, AT&T struggles and Verizon's probably better.
Yeah, Verizon is better and T-Mobile's also better. So, hey, more options are better, and the T-Mobile network is honestly the last network that needs more MVNOs right now because they're already oversaturated.
Oh, by a long mile they are. But moving on to a new topic, let's talk about Nokia pausing the O-RAN alliance work.
Yeah, this was an interesting story, and Roger Ettner actually talked about this with his Recon Analytics podcast. I think it's called just The Week with Roger. Check that out. Link it below if you're interested. And this perked my ears because I kind of like the idea behind the O-RAN alliance. And for those of you who may be unfamiliar, that stands for Open Radio Access Network Alliance. The whole concept here is to make a set of standards and open technology, and I think open software too, or just basically develop a set of standards so that wireless components from different manufacturers can plug and play with each other. And this is going to help on the migration to a virtualized network core, where basically you have a PC with standardized components and you can operate different aspects of the network in a virtualized box. Like this virtualized software will run this software that will take care of texting, for example, as opposed to needing dedicated hardware for texting.
Basically, everything is modular.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you, Dennis. Anyway, so what's happening here? Nokia is kind of pausing their development in this really cool program, and they're pausing their build out of hardware. And Nokia makes some hardware for the wireless industry. That's right, correct, Dennis? Like
That is correct. They are one of the big three that makes the cell phone equipment.
yeah. So this is pretty huge for a big three manufacturer to be kind of tapping the brakes a little bit. And you might be wondering like, hey, what's going on? And the bottom line here is that the U.S. has been imposing some sanctions and restrictions on doing business for certain companies that are Chinese-based or based out of China. Huawei is one example, and other members of this alliance include Kindroid, Phytium, and Inspur. And so I think Nokia is worried about, working alongside these companies and possibly getting restrictions imposed upon them by the U.S. government. So that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's not great because we're going back into this world where we're kind of getting this like virtual like wall.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's separating the East from the West where like we're developing our own different standards, and then we get into this whole conversation all over again about how now you have to have this phone to work in this country, but you can't use this phone in that country because there's different standards. So I'm not real happy about this. I mean, I get that the world is a complicated place, and I don't want to get too into politics on this one, but really unfortunate that this is happening because standards are great, as we've seen by the beautiful standard of USB. Makes life so much easier just having one USB Type-C cable that does it all.
Yeah.
Except for cough, cough, Apple. Yes,
So
I fired
true.
that. Yes, I fired that shot, but
It's a shot that needs to be fired.
but hopefully things work out, or at the very least, this doesn't end up having too much of an impact on the places that I care about.
Yeah, and like I want more hardware equipment to be available. This is going to help Dish build out their virtualized network, and they're starting virtualized from the get-go, which is awesome. And it's going to help AT&T, it's going to help Verizon. We want more equipment, and we want people using these standards. At least that's my interpretation right now.
I don't care about. What I care about is the standard, because anybody can come in and make equipment following a standard. But if there's like 10 different standards going on, that's when things get really hairy. Like the best example of this, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is let's think about SMS, right? Up until this point, we have not had a good replacement until SMS, until RCS came around, and RCS didn't really start taking off until Google actually decided to stick their hand in the game and start forcing the carriers to support it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's like a great example because everybody messages. I know you have iMessage, so you don't care, Stetson. You got that beautiful blue bubble.
Sweet.
But,
Yeah, I'm a blue bubble person.
But for us Android plebs over here, man, we're still limited to that
like
100.
The phone is outstanding. It's just like texting? Really? This is the best we can do?
160 characters. That's the cap on text, and then you start breaking it up into parts.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Do you think Nokia will get back in the game here?
I don't think Nokia is going to stick out for long. I think what ends up happening is this, Stetson, and this is my slightly politically aware hat I'm putting on. I think what happens is some different alliance gets formed that's just like Western focused, that just cuts out Chinese ties altogether. And then Nokia makes some type of like spin-off company that they use to work with the Chinese companies, similar to how like Huawei had, I think it was Oppo under their umbrella.
Yeah, sure.
So I think something like that happens, so that if the punishments do happen, in the worst case scenario, it's the flanker company and it doesn't affect like the main company.
Sure. I can kind of see that. Honestly, I think what's going to happen though is I think the ORAN alliance is pretty huge. Like it's got a lot of people that are part of it. ORAN.org has more info if you're curious. My gut instinct is that I think the United States will work with the ORAN alliance to help clarify what their sanctions and restrictions are, to like allow Nokia to continue developing hardware and stuff. Like
I think that highly depends on how talks go with China. If they break down further, like it really depends on what Biden does with China. That's going to dictate what happens to the ORAN alliance, realistically speaking.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Or maybe Nokia finds a way to manufacture equipment without having to rely on.
Listen, Nokia is going to do what makes them the most money. I don't think
true.
This is I don't think there's a world where Nokia completely cuts out China, but on the same token, China, it's this mystical market full of people, but realistically speaking, China doesn't buy a lot of Nokia equipment. They buy from like Huawei and stuff. So I think Nokia is going to do whatever it takes to keep US happy. And if they manage to also snag some customers from China, they'll do that. But they're going to do whatever option gives them more money.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And it's like, what is the bigger customer for them? It sounds like the US is, and I would probably believe that. Or like
US and Europe
is so
basically
whatever they can do to keep those countries happy and keep the money flowing. All right, Dennis, we got one more bulleted item here, and then I think we got some spicy nuggets we can sprinkle into this podcast. Last one, I don't know if you saw this, but Dish Wireless has a new website and a new Twitter account, so you can follow them at Dish Wireless. This is sort of their front for their wireless communications. I really like the logo. It's kind of this like gray logo with a really poorly photoshopped image of a cell tower with the Dish logo on it. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, and then the website has some interesting stuff on it as well. You've got, where did that go? Dish hyping up some of their features. They actually have a white paper, how they're laying the foundation for 5G network security, and they have a video about them joining Amazon for cloud-native 5G. It's the website's in beta, is what I'll say.
Yeah, but I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I like the fact that Dish is actually like consumers kind of get a peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had released this white paper about security considering the T-Mobile hack. I wonder if that was a jab at them.
I think it's definitely going to be important for them. Maybe not necessarily for customers right now, but I think for investors and going forward, like, hey, we're building this. It's going to be safe. It's going to be secure. And
especially because they're focusing on business customers, right? Wasn't that something?
I'm not 100% sure, actually. I mean, that could be a big possibility.
Oh, that was something that Sneed said. I'm sorry. That was on Sneed's show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's thinking about that.
Yeah. But from when we were having a conversation with Sneed, Dish was making it looks like they're trying to make a big play for like businesses and enterprise customers.
Yeah.
A lot. But I think it's really cool. They have a little video on the site too talking about their partnership with Amazon, which I think is really cool. On the topic of Sneed, I know Sneed is like really optimistic about Dish, which gets me kind of excited.
I'm optimistic as well. Cloud native, it's using ORAN, built on American innovation. Whatever that means. But I think I'm liking what I'm seeing. The website is, it needs some work. We've got some readability issues. These buttons don't look like buttons.
I mean,
but it's coming together.
When I look at Dish's website, right?
It's also not secure, Dennis.
Yes.
Speaking of security, they need to get their SSL certificate.
Yes, I do see that. But when I look at Dish's website, right? Well, first off, I love the careers. Might need to apply. These look nice, but joking. But when I look at their website, I see a bunch of buzzwords, right? Like I see ORAN, I see network slicing, I see automation, I see a lot of stuff, and this website mainly screams, "Look at me, I'm an investor." Like, not so much, "Look at me, I'm a customer."
Yeah.
I really, 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 really want to see plans start coming out sometime soon. Especially
when the network's going to launch and what areas it's going to launch.
Yeah, especially because Carlos out in Vegas is like talking about how like baller things are looking with how dense the network is. Like I want to see some actual action happening. And I think Sneed was saying that they were deploying in my market, which I haven't paying too much close attention. But if that's the case, I wouldn't make a permanent switch, but I'd like to test it out. I mean, they're using AT&T for roaming, right? So like I know it's got to be good enough.
It's got to be good enough. If you're on AT&T, it's got to be good enough. That was such a clutch deal, 100%.
Oh, so good. But yeah, the partnerships are interesting too. Like I don't think we heard about them partnering up with Intel or Nokia, did we?
I'm just curious. I think they're using Nokia for some of the networking equipment, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm genuinely curious like what their partners are doing. So obviously they're partnered with Amazon Web Services. We knew that. Partnering with Intel, Digital Route, VMware, Fujitsu, and Nokia. Overall, it's
Fujitsu's like what, a cloud provider?
I don't know, honestly, Dennis. Like, I'm not 100% sure what they do. It might be something related. Yeah, it looks like it's something related to clouds, cloud services, and cybersecurity.
Okay.
I think.
Well, still pretty cool. It looks like Dish is making some progress. Hopefully something more substantial that is consumer facing happens sooner rather than later. Especially since with these new iPhones coming around, I think it's a huge opportunity for them to gain some meaningful market share. Like, could you imagine if Dish actually did like a partnership with Apple so that like on stage? God. Now listen, no, picture this real quick, all right? Apple's talking about iPhone 13, right? Talking about 5G, and then comes on the stage, Charlie Egan's like, and now you can get your iPhone 13 for free on the Dish wireless network with plans starting at like $55 for unlimited everything, and just mic drop.
Wow.
Could you imagine if something like that happened? Because like last year they did that with Verizon with millimeter wave, right? What if Charlie Egan really won up that? Dude, that would
hey, we need it. I mean, I don't think Apple wouldn't partner with Dish because of the reputation, but it would be sick if that did happen. And yeah, I think unfortunately their network they said they were going to launch it, but now they're launching it in beta. So
yeah, but I mean, even if they just launched it as it is, they have AT&T's network, which is already baller. And all they have to do is just put the little Dish icon in the corner. No one
call it a day. You can do that with a jailbreak. They've got to have figured that out by now.
Listen, if you think about something real quick, right? When you as a consumer, right, Stetson, when you're having a great experience with Mint, right? If we didn't do what we do, right, would you be like, does Mint have a great network or does T-Mobile have a great network? You wouldn't care. You'd just be like, oh, Mint's incredible. I'm getting great value, right? And I feel like that would be the case for a lot of consumers. Like I feel
they'd be like, oh yeah, Dish is incredible. I'm getting great value. Free phone, sign me up.
Free phone, great service. Like they would just see bars and great experience, and they wouldn't question like the roaming agreements. Like most people aren't going to go researching, being like, "Oh, Dish is roaming on AT&T. That's why my service is so good." Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. We'll see what happens, and I think they could do some interesting deals. I think with we talked about this in a previous episode, but maybe with fitnesses like gym memberships, health services, getting more other services bundled in with their Dish plan.
I said the price for life idea, which when I read the comments, people were like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Dennis, something tells me we're not getting price for life. Maybe like price for a year.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. Like price for life, like people like CenturyLink do that. Like I don't know if you know this, but like CenturyLink charges like the same price regardless. Like they'll like the highest speed tier, it's like the same price across where whether it's 3 megabits or 10 megabits per second or 100 megabits per second. It's like $50 if you're like a CenturyLink customer.
Yeah,
terrible if you live in rural America because you got 3 megabits for that price. But they say price for life, and there's no like promos or whatever, right? It's just like that price. I think that would be so stellar, right? Like if you're an early adopter on Dish, you get rewarded for your loyalty, right? Like
maybe they will do that. Like find a way to reward early adopters, do something exclusive. I always think that's fun.
I mean, if you think about it, like a lot of carriers don't reward loyalty anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean Verizon did launch their like prepaid loyalty program, but I don't know. It's just
I'm talking about postpaid, right? Like postpaid always gets the shaft. They're always like, for new customers, get this Visa card, or add a line and port in a number. It's not just to add a line. It's add a line and port a number over from our competitor and get this promotion, right?
Deal. Like you got to get your grandmother to do this.
The only one that did something halfway decent recently was AT&T with the iPhone 12 promos last year.
Those were sweet. Do you think we're going to see those this year?
I don't know if AT&T is going to be that brazen. I mean, we've always seen how Apple goes, right? Like there's the main year where things are game changing, and then there's the year of refinement, and this is that year of refinement, right? Like I don't know. Maybe Apple does something, or maybe AT&T does something. But do you think they have to?
I don't think they have to, but I think they want to, because the question is it working? Are they getting new customers? I think you look at the metrics. Yes, I think it's working. I think AT&T offering the same iPhone promotions for current customers as well as new customers is working really well for them. I think there's going to be no slowing them down. I think this is going to be full steam ahead for AT&T.
Stetson, if they do an iPhone 13 promo, would you actually consider, like, let's just say they do iPhone 13 Pro for free. Would you actually finance it?
100% not, Dennis. And you know why?
Why?
It's because AT&T is going to be launching their 36-month financing agreements with these promos. That's 3 years. No way could I do that. I'm upgrading every year, Dennis. Would you do something like that? I mean, you're already an existing AT&T customer.
I couldn't do it because I couldn't do 3 years.
Yeah,
Like
right?
3 years is so long.
You get partway through it and you're like, well, I just want to buy out the rest of this phone and sell it so I can upgrade. And at that point, it's like you should have bought it up front to begin with.
Well, I think if I did it that way, because they apply as bill credits, right? So if I'm a year in, that means that part of it got paid off by AT&T.
It's still not worth it. Like if you do the math on how much you pay for the phone and then how much you get in resale value, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's always worth buying up.
Oh no. I agree. Buying outright's great. And also, if you're someone that upgrades yearly, I actually think Apple's upgrade program is pretty solid.
It's decent. I like how they include Apple Care. I'm personally not a fan because like I'm doing the math right now and I'm actually trying to sell my personal iPhone 12 and 12 Pro in preparation for this new iPhone 13. I'm anticipating, I have it listed for $714 right now, and I think it'll go for maybe around there. I think it'll probably cost me net maybe $150, okay, to purchase the phone, own it, and use it for almost a full year, 10, 11 months, and then sell it. And that's way less than what Apple's charging. I mean, you're basically paying $50 a month, I think, because it's the phone and Apple Care. So I think the phone, let's say it's $33.33 per month. You're adding on $10 a month for Apple Care. You're looking at $43, 10 months. You've spent $430 on that phone. And then you're trading it into Apple and getting a new one. So it's basically like, I mean, I guess if you do it year over year, it's like $430. It'd be plus a couple of extra months. So it'd be like over $500. Let's just call it
plus a couple months.
Because I was doing 10 months. So like a full year would be 12 months. Gotcha. 12 months, let's say it's $500 to own that phone. And I'm spending $150, maybe $200 tops to buy the phone and then resell it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I did the Apple upgrade program for a few years there, and I actually stopped around the iPhone 8 Plus because I didn't like what Apple was doing with later iterations of iPhone. I missed Touch ID.
Yeah.
So that's why I got out of that. But honestly, if you upgrade frequently enough, I think it can be worth. Apple Care, do you have to get Apple Care? Do you have to actually get Apple Care?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's just included. Like that's their upsell, right? Like they're adding a little bit more, sweetening that deal, and then it's an upsell. Like you're paying a little bit more for the phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it can be worth if you don't want to go through the hassle of selling on Swappa.
That's definitely true. Selling on Swappa is not for everyone. I'm a big fan because I think it's how you get the best value, and that's like what I'm trying to encourage. You're definitely right, though. I had to go and spend, let's say, an hour taking pictures, making this listing, trying to make it all pretty, doing some damage descriptions. Like if there's any minor scratch, I'll try and note that and take a photograph of it just so people really know what they're buying.
But overall, that's pretty cool. On the topic, though, of selling your phone, Stetson, and getting prepared for iPhone 13, do you want to talk about just some general promotions that are coming to an end here soon that people might want to consider instead of iPhone 13?
Yeah, I mean, what have you got then? So have you been following these? Because I have not been following deals recently.
Yeah, I'm just refreshing my memory really quickly, but I know Best Buy was doing an aggressive back-to-school promotion, I believe, where I think it was like if you trade in a phone at Best Buy, they give you like $300 credit like on the spot, and it was something else. But give me 2 seconds here. I'll look it up real quick.
Sure. Actually, this is kind of cool. This I didn't even plan this. There's a new site, Dennis. It's called Navi. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what this site does is it allows you to say what phone you have, what you might be interested in, or what features you're interested in a phone, whether it's flagship camera quality, battery life, you want a full day, or you can do with like half a day, screen size, and if you want like something that's super premium or mid-tier. And you can actually track deals, and it kind of compares trade-in deals and values sticking with your current carrier or switching carriers. So let me just kind of show you real quick. This is like it just came out, and so I'm interested to share this with you. But I was tracking, I have an iPhone XS right now. I use that as an example, and I'm looking at the iPhone 12 Pro. And so this is where I can see a summary of the deal where it's actually free right now. And it looks like this is for T-Mobile, and it gives you a summary of the fine print of what I need to trade in. I have to trade my iPhone XS in, no battery damage, and it's fold off. And I need to get the Magenta Max plan in order to get this deal. But it's got some like interesting options. Let's see, iPhone 12 mini. Let's see if we can find one for the 12 Pro Max. Stay with Verizon. You can get it for as low as $660, and if you switch carriers, it's as low as $100. So this is kind of like cool. And Best Buy, Dennis, you said
there we go.
Look at that. They have it discounted from $1,100 to $779, and this is with a trade-in.
Yeah, so actually, I'm on Best Buy's website. If you here, I'll send you the link so you can see what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But basically, the promotion that's sticking out to me the most is Best Buy is doing a promo on the Galaxy Z Fold 3.
Oh yeah, tons of promos on these.
Well, instantly save $400 on new Samsung Galaxy Z series with qualified activation, and save up to an additional $1,000 with qualified trade-in. So you can basically get a Galaxy Z Fold 3 for free because you're getting $1,400 in credit. In theory,
That is insane.
Also, they're doing $300 off when you activate an iPhone 12 mini. Just straight up $300 off for activating an iPhone 12 mini with qualified activation.
Yeah, so it's got to be postpaid carrier.
Right, but it doesn't require a trade-in, which is the beautiful thing.
That is really cool. So that brings the 12 mini down to like $430.
Yeah, which is a freaking really good deal, especially if you like those smaller phones, which I think you're a big fan of the smaller phones, aren't you?
I'm liking smaller phones. I got used to the 12 size, but I do generally prefer kind of smaller phones.
And then on top of deals, getting away from Best Buy a little bit, Xfinity Mobile, we talked about when this happened earlier on, has been doing very, very aggressive promotions that I know are going to be coming to an end. September 7th is when their promo is going to be ending. But basically, they got like this back-to-school promo where, like, if you get their internet and then you activate a cell phone line, you get $300 in the form of a Visa prepaid card just for, like, activating a line.
Yeah.
And then it stacks with other Visa cards. Like, I'm going to use a quick example. Let's just say you got 400 megabits per second promo, okay?
Yeah.
The promo on that online in my area is a $75 Visa prepaid card for picking that offer. And then if you activate a mobile line, which if you're going through the order entry, it shows you online like the promos available. If you get a mobile line, you get the $300 Visa card just for activating a cell phone line.
That's sweet.
You get another $50 Visa prepaid card if you bring your own phone over. So if you own a phone and bring it over to the network, they give you an additional $50 Visa prepaid card. And they give you an additional $100 Visa prepaid card for every additional line that you activate, up to a maximum of 10 lines.
That's insane. They're trying to get customers. I mean, Dennis, we're heading into the holiday season. I think the deals are going to be coming down faster than snowflakes from the sky.
I almost feel like these deals are better right now than what normally comes around for Black Friday.
Well, it's true because it's going to be on sale Black Fridays. They're going to try and discount the new phones and stuff, and it'll have to be like super small discounts on those new devices.
Yeah, like because we're on the tail end of these phones, like a lot of them are really like aggressive. Like
they're trying to clear out inventory. I think that's what Best Buy is doing with the iPhone 12 mini. Like it didn't sell as well, right? They've probably got a lot, and they're trying to clear inventory with that $300 off promo.
Yeah, but the Xfinity ones I was talking about end September 7th. Is there any promos that come to mind for you that are ending soon? I know we looked. I know when we were actually, I think it was last week when we were recommending cell phone plans to people. Who was it that was actually doing student deals? I think it was Tello.
Yeah, I think Tello was doing deals. I mean, I can just throw up the deals page on the site right now just to kind of see what we're looking at. It looks like Verizon's doing their $25 off a month for students. We thought that was mediocre. Ting, you can always get $25 of Ting credit. Gen Mobile's doing a buy one, get one free. Twigby's doing that 6-month 25% off any plan we talked about.
Was it Ting,
iPhone
maybe?
deals? What?
Was it Ting maybe that was doing the deal? I thought it was Tello, but maybe it was Ting.
Maybe not. Verizon's doing a bunch of like iPhone deals with trade-in and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know. Like the deals, if you want a good deal on an old phone, I think Samsung deals are probably going to be better options right now. The reason I say that is because the new S22 isn't coming out for 5 months, so I think you're getting a little bit better of a value if you were to purchase an S21 right now or S21 Ultra.
Yeah, but they don't hold their value. Like if you
they don't really. Yeah. And if you're getting an iPhone, I just think the new iPhone 13 is so close. Like, you should wait for that.
I don't know, man. I mean, Stetson, if you can get, let's just say you scored that iPhone 12 mini for $400. Do you really think that's such a bad deal?
It's not a bad deal, but I would be really bummed when the new one came out and was just like infinitely better with the new A15 Bionic chip, portrait video mode, 120 hertz display. That alone is enough to upgrade.
But quick pause here. First off, do you even think they're going to make an iPhone 13 mini?
Ooh.
And secondly,
I think yes.
And then secondarily, who cares about A15, right? Like A14 is already like super. Yeah. And then as far as 120 hertz, you wouldn't want that on a mini, right? Like
the battery.
Yeah, like you would not want that on a mini. And although listen, I have high refresh rate, right? I love it, but to be honest, like for what I do on my phone, I can bear 60 FPS. Like it's like 60 hertz. Like it's not like the end of the world, right? Like Apple does a really good job at like smoothing out animation so it doesn't feel bad. So like, does it really matter? I mean, $400. It's a 5G phone. It has support for all the carriers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad deal. It's a great deal. I guess I'm just saying, as a tech enthusiast, I would want to upgrade. If you're someone who's looking for that value option, it's an outstanding deal.
Yeah, and then like also, I mean, isn't T-Mobile doing like a back to school deal right now too?
Oh yeah, they're always doing deals. Dealing your information out. Boom, boom.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, sorry. Shots fired.
Hold on, I'm looking it up real quick because I thought they were doing a free iPhone 12 or something for back to school. I'm gonna 86 it. Forget it. I'm too lazy to look it up at this point.
Okay.
But anywho, any final thoughts that you want to talk about, Stetson, to the people that are listening?
Yeah, quick plug. This episode was sponsored by the like button. And Dennis, I realize, so I'm going to have the other episodes up very soon. And if you're listening to this episode, then the other episodes are already up. I think you actually cut out on one of your hot, spicy takes. That was what AT&T was doing with their plan prices. So I wanted to bring that back around. What are the rumors about what AT&T is going to be doing with their plan prices, Dennis? Do you remember your spicy nugget?
I do, because it was an absolute nuke that was dropped on our good friend Sneed's podcast when I was on with Moose. So credit to Sneed and the gang for the rumor that I trust. But basically,
linked in the description. Got to give credit.
But basically, the rumor of that show, or the rumor that we talked about on that show, is that AT&T is likely going to be coming out with new plans that include taxes and fees.
Whew. And that would make them so good. I mean, they would literally be the best. Like, I don't think there's any other way to put that. Just the best.
Yeah, I mean, it was new when I talked to you about it, and I can't really remember what your thoughts is, so it's hard to emulate this. But let's get into, I mean, we can get into a quick conversation about it. Okay. So, if AT&T, including tax and fee, Stetson, what do you think that does for the industry as a whole?
Yeah, well, I mentioned in my ultimate Verizon versus AT&T versus T-Mobile video, I gave T-Mobile the win because I thought their value to features was the best combination. What made it the best? T-Mobile included taxes and fees, so their plans were the cheapest, and they included good features. AT&T including taxes and fees would mean their plans would be pretty much exactly the same as T-Mobile, and they have better features and a better network. I think that would give AT&T the win in my eyes, at least right now, based on this current rumor.
They would actually be cheaper than T-Mobile, Stetson, because think about all the discounts.
The signature discount, yeah. Right.
Yeah, like Stetson, how much money do you think I'm paying in tax and fees? Just take a wild gander of my AT&T bill.
All right, so my AT&T bill was about $4 and let's call it $5 per line in taxes and fees. My understanding is you've got
that's cheap, but continue.
3 lines on your account, so I would say maybe it's $20.
First off, if taxes are that low in Colorado, I should move out to Colorado. But no, taxes and fees on my family plan is like a good $40.
Oh my gosh, gee whiz! What percentage of your bill is that? Like,
it's like a good fourth of my bill.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! So you would see your bill drop by
if tax and fees were included, my bill I want to say it drops down to 140.
Jeez, that'd be
And
so
that's
good.
for three lines of truly unlimited everything.
But Dennis, is AT&T really going to do this? Like, are they really just going to forfeit all of this money, pay taxes and fees for themselves? Like, how are they going to stay profitable?
How are they going to stay profitable, dude? They're raking in profits right now from their Uverse business.
Okay.
For their fiber. But also, how are they going to do this? I mean, a lot of those taxes and fees were just going to paying towards their offices and stuff like that.
Like, it's like they had some AT&T, like some bogus AT&T fee in there. Like,
like it was something bogus that didn't even like make sense.
Like
so,
account management or something. Or
so I think AT&T can. I think
they
AT&T
can do it. They can
manage.
take this one for the. They'll take the hit, drop the revenue per customer, but see such a surge in new customers that'll offset that.
But you're missing the bigger picture here, man. If AT&T includes taxes and fees, that's going to put serious pressure and make Verizon have to respond.
Oh, that would be the best.
Now, here's the real question. Do you think Verizon will respond in that same year?
I think probably not. I mean, what I think the trend has been T-Mobile does something. If another carrier does it, either AT&T or Verizon, then the third carrier will feel pressure to do that. And I think we saw that T-Mobile got rid of data buckets first. We had unlimited plans, and then was AT&T brought back unlimited plans, and then Verizon did?
AT&T brought unlimited plans back with the caveat that I think you had to have like DirecTV or something.
Yeah. So anyway, it puts pressure on the other carriers. I guess thoughts. So it sounds like this is coming from a reliable source. So I'll say 70. I personally maybe 70% confidence in this. I guess it'll come out. They might try and do it with the new iPhone. Like if you buy the new iPhone, maybe you can switch to this plan or something. Or they'll do it. I see it next year, like an early next year change.
I see them being even more prosumer than that. I think they'll just do anybody that's on AT&T Unlimited Elite already gets the tax and fees included. Like I think they just do something like that, proactive. And I think the reason why you were saying why would they want to do this? I think AT&T wants to move people off the legacy plans. There's a lot of people on their network that are still using like these old mobile shared
to fix their biller, their garbage biller and back-end system.
Yeah, I think it's just to simplify billing. I also think it's to be more competitive and just continue to drive that market share in this saturated market. But like going back to Verizon, like if they responded, what do you think they do? Like, do they add on another streaming service?
What I was alluding to before is like I think what AT&T might do is they might increase the list price of the plans. Like they're basically going to make it the same, right? Where the price you see, let's say it's $90 for Elite, but taxes and fees included, which is about the same as $85 Elite plus taxes and fees. So I think they may consider doing something like that. And my guess for Verizon is they will 100% do something like that. They're basically due for new plans anyway, or some kind of refresh with Magenta Max and AT&T Elite going like full on with unlimited priority data. So I think Verizon, when they introduce a plan that has either unlimited priority or more priority data or 4K streaming, like heck, give me the option for 1080p streaming.
How about cough 5G support for Verizon Starter?
Yeah, 4G support for Verizon Starter, exactly. I think when Verizon does those things, that's when they can like do a pricing restructure and yeah.
So in a pricing restructure with tax and fees included, do you think that Verizon's go beyond or whatever the heck they call it?
Get more now. It was above. I think it was above unlimited, or was it beyond unlimited?
I think it was beyond. I don't even know anymore. Anyway, besides the need to rename the names, do you think they charge $100 for a single line, tax and fees included?
Yeah, I think they would. 100%.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
That would be so. That's $15 more expensive than what AT&T Unlimited Elite is.
Yep. And Verizon would do it 100%. You know the worst part? People would
pay it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
You have to remember, I mean, it is possible to get like multi-lines on your account, so it'll drop to maybe like $60 a line. So
yeah, but like Verizon's multi-line pricing, it's not that good.
It's decent. I think it's for my if my memory serves me correctly, it's about the same. Like right now, Verizon and AT&T are the same, and then what makes T-Mobile cheaper is the taxes and fees being included. Like they're all pretty similar.
Yeah, but like that's before they start charging for the services, right? Like on the Play More plan, right? Like I think Discovery Plus is for 12 months or
Oh yeah, Verizon's got you. The reason they do the 12 months is so that your bill goes up. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so like your bill's gonna jump like a good say $30 after like a year, and
Yeah.
and you're not gonna remember. Like no one
Oh
remembers.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we'll see, Dennis. When do you think this is gonna happen, and what's your probability score?
When we talked about it last time, I said I don't think it would happen until like end of year
Yeah.
at the soonest, and more likely probably maybe the start of next year.
I'm starting to get the feeling this might be a next year thing.
I think it would happen. So this is the reason why I think it would happen next year. Because during the holiday rush, there's already promos going on, like the iPhone 13, that are going to drive customer purchases. But then you get into like that January kind of like month where things kind of get like slow, right? So you want to come out with something aggressive slightly before the new Samsung Android phones roll out, so that when holiday season rolls out, people are already seeing the marketing that like at AT&T, taxes and fees included. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if they introduce new plans, first of all, it would confuse everyone because no one understands the current plans. Like, we understand it. We're deep into this, but I think an average consumer, if you're like, oh, hey, like, what's the difference between extra and elite? They're gonna be like, are you on drugs? Are you okay? Do you need me to call someone? Like, they're not gonna know the difference. I think if AT&T were introduce new plans, it would add confusion not only for their reps and the deals. Like, they want to focus on the deals for this holiday, and then as you mentioned, when there's a lull, that's when they can launch new plans.
You just gave me a big brain idea real quick. Do you remember when T-Mobile, John Legere, rolled out the T-Mobile One plan because it was supposed to be the one plan that like ruled it all before they started adding One Plus and all this other junk?
Oh shoot, yeah, just like one super simple. Hey, it's unlimited everything. You don't need to think about it. You're done.
So we talked about things that Dish needs to do. What if Dish just ends up coming out with one plan? Just one plan for everybody.
Oh, I would love that for the simplicity, but I think, Dennis, I feel like aren't there nuances with different consumer behavior habits, like how people use hotspot, how people use different features of their phone? Or do you think, does it not matter? Like, you can give hotspot to someone who's not going to use it and they're not going to use it, so it doesn't cost you anything? Or what's your take? Like, does it make sense to do multiple plans? Like, we do see tiers now. What are your thoughts on the current system?
We see tiers because we want to try to fill in every demographic and soak up every customer and have the ability to upsell specific features, right? But I think Dish could pull off a one plan pony. Like you said, if there's a feature or a bell or whistle that someone doesn't care about, it doesn't matter. It's there if they want it. If not, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Dish could do it, and like if they wanted to get really brazen, they could do the retroactive approach. Like, remember, like on my old OnePlus plan, I had a feature that was enrolled where if I used less than 2 gigs a day, I got an extra, like, I think it was like $10 off my T-Mobile bill.
Sure.
Dish could do something like that, right? Like, say unlimited everything, $65, and it's just true like unlimited plan, right? They have the 5G network, they have all that capacity. Just true unlimited plan, $65. If you use less than X amount of usage, they knock $15 off for you just automatically. Just automatically do it. If not, the bells and whistles are already there. Hotspot's there, and they could just do like a multi-product discount because like people buy unlimited plans when they don't need them anyway because they don't want to because they don't want to think about like overages or anything like that. And if they priced it like $65, that's as cheap as what Verizon starter costs.
Yeah. What do you think Dish would need to do with their one plan? Like, what would be the one plan you'd want to see from Dish?
Basically, just incorporate all the premium features that like an AT&T Elite has at a much better price and call it a day. Like, they don't have to do streaming service. Like, I'm just saying, like, just do unlimited priority data, or just actually instead of even need to say the phrase priority data, just unlimited data. Period. Right? Like, it shouldn't be priority. Just unlimited data. Period. Some amount of high speed hotspot. I don't care what the figure is. HD video streaming at least 1080p or higher, and price it at a reasonable price with tax and fees included, and just call it a day.
Yeah. I mean, that would be simple, definitely easy to market. The marketing team would probably be happy with that. Less confusing for customers. And maybe they will do something like that where I could see them doing one plan and then maybe hotspots and add-on, or like maybe they do add-ons. I mean, what do you think of that approach?
Well, real quick, one of our patrons actually mentioned a comment that's right in line with what I was sort of thinking.
Yeah.
They said that basically that Dish's network is going to have very little congestion when it opens because there's not going to be any customers on it. So unlimited everything could totally work for them. And
100%.
Their network's already 5G from the get-go.
5G from the get-go, Open RAN, like it's going to be lean, mean, and it's running on AT&T in areas where they don't have it, which already is a great network with less congestion. I think Sneed is optimistic and bullish on Dish. I'm also feeling optimistic right now in this current moment. And shout out to Makeo. Thank you for the comment. And if you are watching this right now and you want to see us and hear us record this live, consider joining the Patreon linked above, patreon.com/StetsonDoggett. And we share these posts with you so you can join us and watch us live, which is really cool.
But you were asking me about bolt-ons, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dish could have just like one generic plan. And then for things like international calling, you can just have like a simple little day pass or whatever kind of add-on.
Yeah. You know, I think that's actually better for consumers where it makes more sense. You get your one plan, and then you get bolt-ons or add-ons where, boom, you want international calling? Here you go. You want international roaming? Here you go. You want hotspot? Here you go. You want HD streaming? Here you go. And you can kind of configure your plan as you want. And you basically...
Well, now we're getting into the realm of where I don't want to be.
You don't want... you think that's too complicated.
No, like I want HD streaming just to be a native thing. That's just just an assumption. Like it shouldn't. Like if you have a truly powerful 5G network like Dish is making, right?
Yeah.
Then we shouldn't live in this world where like HD streaming is the thought. Like for example, when I buy my internet connection right from Fios, right? I don't go up to them and be like, okay, I want this speed and I also want HD streaming up to 1080p and I want the ability to share like my connection. Like no, just give me the freaking speed and let me do what I want on it, right? In the same vein, cell phone company, I don't want to be like, can I text this person? Can I make a call for over an hour? Can I use my data here? Oh, or if I'm roaming in domestically, I only get 200 megabytes. No. Here you go, unlimited plan. Just use it like you would. Don't abuse it. You can have terms in there that talk about abuse or whatever, but just use the plan, use your phone, and then for cases like international calling, international roaming, make those bolt-ons because those are kind of like caveats where you don't want to like natively include it in a plan because then it adds cost. So just make those bolt-ons for those people that actually do the travel and want that. And in that same vein, you can if you want to make hotspot an add-on feature, you can. I just assume that there should be some baseline amount of data included for hotspot.
Yeah. There's some plan that is more hotspot data than T-Mobile Magenta. Was it the freaking
it was
Walmart
on Sprint.
Family Mobile?
No. Oh, well, yes, but I was also thinking of Sprint when they had their old unlimited plans, like 100 gigs of hotspot.
Yeah, so much better. All right, well, either way, interesting thoughts. I think I like the single plan approach with bolt-ons, and it sounds like you would want to see certain features included from the get-go just to avoid confusion, make it easy on consumers.
Avoid confusion, make it easy on consumers, but also because, like, I'm of the proponent of, like, what do we do on our phones? Most people use data to watch some type of video content, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I get a speed test with 300 megabits per second if my video is going to be capped at 40p.
Yeah.
Right?
This is true.
Like so that to me that's an important feature that I could just watch video how I want. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have to deal with buffering. I just want it to work. International calling and add-ons like that, I understand, but
yeah,
I hear you. I think we should call it.
Yeah, Dennis is like losing his voice over there, the poor guy. Yeah, either way, that's going to be it for this special episode of the Best Phone Plans podcast. I guess all episodes are special. If you're watching this episode was sponsored by the like button, so please click the like button. It's a great free way to support the show. Consider joining the Patreon for extra perks, benefits, and behind-the-scenes content. Dennis, anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, for anybody that's still listening, by the way, we have made a new channel to upload all the podcast content to. Stetson and I are going to be making that transition rather quickly, so please make sure you're subscribing to the Best Phone Plans channel and sharing it with everyone so that they are aware, because moving forward, that is going to be where all the greatest content for the Best Phone Plans podcast gets uploaded to.
Absolutely. Either way, that's going to be it for this episode. Again, click the like button, share this episode with a friend. I'm Stetson.
And I'm Dennis.
And we look forward to talking to you in the next one.
Peace.